Here we go. Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to another Zaggard-tastic stream. It is I, your friend, the one, the only Z, a single Zaggard, and I hope you all having a wonderful morning, noon, night, evening, whatever time it is for you today. Welcome back to the Dragon's Den, my friends, and it is another wonderful, beautiful world-building Wednesday here in the Dragon's Den. How are you all doing? Building time. I haven't talked to you since last year. First of all, that's not true. I have been talking to you in your sleep this whole time. You did not know it, but it was me. Rah, 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 rah. No, but seriously, it is good to see you all. I hope you're all having a happy new year. I hope 2025 is bright and beautiful for each and every one of you. And for those of you who are feeling like you are in the dark, welcome. I hope that we can be a small, shining beacon for you. But for now, let us focus on what we're here for today. We're going to do some world building. If you guys saw the thumbnail on YouTube, there's a picture there that might be able to show you kind of what we'll be doing. And it also might not completely show you what we're doing. Let's see. So ready to absolutely demolish Creeper, 1060, and many more dice rolls. So here's the thing. Today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different than what we normally do. And that's because of a couple things. One, it's the new year. I want to chill out a bit. I don't want to have to follow some structure or a time like, oh, we got to do it for this long. But I might move on to playing some video games partway through the stream. So if you want to stick around for that later, go ahead. If you want to leave, that's also fine. But for now, we're going to be just chilling out. And we will still do some world building. That was not a lie. We are going to do some world building. But it might not be like how we've done it before. And there was a section that we did start work on, and we'll get to it later. We will continue with it. I have it still written down. Let me just double check it is here. Yes, the Shrine Islands, I still have it on my folder here, right here. You guys can't see it. I don't know why I said right here, but I do have the Shrine Islands document still, and I have our midpoint one and our Dragon Song one. But there are a couple of things. Yes, the holidays were great for me. Claire got me some really cool gifts. For starters, she got this as more of a smaller gift, and it's a bit of a joke gift, but I also love it. She got me this little cage. It's this little cage, and the top comes off. And for those of you who can't tell what it is, it's a dice jail. It's a dice jail. It's so when your dice keep rolling too low too many times, you put them in dice jail. Bam. Into the pits of hell you shall go, Satan's spawn. Ah. Dice jail? Yes, dice jail. Yeah, I love it. It's for a meme joke that Claire only learned about recently, and she got one for me and for a friend of ours. Another version of dice jail I've seen people have is they'll have a bag. A lot of people they have a bag of dice, and they'll put specifically dice that roll bad in that bag and say, these are for the dice who have failed me. They will never see the light of day again. It's an even more meme version of that. Hello. Yes, you did call it. It is a dice jail. Congrats on 1,000 subs on YouTube. Thank you. Sorry, my stream is delayed. Don't apologize. And it's supposed to be a little delayed. It's on purpose. What's another thing? Oh, she also got me this book, Traps, Puzzles, and Dungeons. So it's just a book of some simple traps and puzzles. And that's probably my favorite gift I got this year, because I love being a DM, But coming up with traps and puzzles is hard. Traps, not so much. You just like, oh, here's a thing that activates a thing and it does some damage. But you want to make sure like it feels thematically good. And this one actually gives you some ideas, not just for the traps, but how they get set off and what players can do to try and find them, or when they start to activate them, how to like stop it from activating right away. For instance, like let's say it's one of those traps where the classic one where they're walking and they step on a tile and the tile goes down a bit and that activates a trap. You could have it, instead of just activating, they step on it and you hear a click under your foot, and now the players have like 1 round to try and figure out what the trap is and how to stop it. And if they can't do that, then it goes off, instead of it just this way. It's a bit more of a play structure between you and the players, you know. I think that's a good idea. And then puzzles, you can look up some puzzles and come up with your own, and they're not hard, but I always want them to be a little bit more creative. And this one has like 3 different types of puzzles. It has, oh, what are they called? I'm just remembering off the top of my head. There's the rhyme puzzles, the basic ones where it's like some sort of rhyming scheme of blah, 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 what am I? And then they have to guess it. Those ones are the simple ones. Then there's also the ciphers. A cipher is usually like jumbled images or letters that they need to figure out the cipher for. That one's pretty neat, and it shows you how to make a cipher and stuff like that. I haven't really read into it that much, but I'm very interested in it. And the final one is it's actually like some puzzles, like there's a series of things that they have to figure out how to do this. It's a lot more thematic, and I really like it. So I love that. I love that I got that. But anyways, let's get into the content-arino. And we are now, welcome, chat, to Bylaria, however you want to call it. The world that I have created, we have created. Now, this may look a little familiar to you if you spent some time creating world maps. This is from a website called Asgar's Fantasy Map Generator. So yes, I did not really make this world per se myself. It was pre-generated, but however, the only part that I kept from the pre-generation was the shape and most of the biomes. Originally, this whole section here. Oh, can you see my mouse? You can't see my mouse. Let me there we go. This whole section here was not a desert. This was just more like grassland, and I think there was like a small hot desert here. We wanted the Deshret to look big, so I redrew this as big. And that's a beautiful thing about this, is you can change all sorts of stuff. Like I can turn off the biome so it just looks like this. I can get rid of the borders. I can get rid of the labels. Originally, it even had all this ice. Let me see if I can turn it. Yeah, all this ice. And while I like the idea of where the ice is, I don't like that it covers up like some of these sections, so I just keep it turned off. And then let's see, borders, biomes, and labels. There we go. And map poggers. I sometimes just put unruly dice back in the pouch until they're ready to behave. Makes sense. I say I've played D&D at any point since I say like I've played D&D. Yeah, that's fair. It's hard to get a group together, then a literal jigsaw puzzle, and have them solve it on a timer or the trap goes off. That is, I feel like that's a little complicated for a trap, but not a bad idea for a higher level party. I just want to say I am Dell. I just changed my name to Creeper. Good to know. I knew you were someone. What kind of someone was the hard part? I just realized that I did not add this image to the vertical stream, so let me just do that real quick. There we go. And then this way it's not like so small where they can more or less see everything we're looking at, but things are a little cut off on the vertical. We'll leave that as that is. Let me just where is it? Transform, Center horizontally and center vertically. There we go. Cool. And then we'll just lock that. Anyways, back to this. No, like a 12-piece children's puzzle. That could work. That could work. Or for more pressure, that toy perfection. Never heard of the toy perfection, so I have no idea what that is. I'm not saying it's a bad idea. I'd have to think about it more before I implement it. But I like the idea. So if you haven't noticed, I have created a bunch of different areas on our map in our spare time, and I will continue to do this offline as well as online. So if there are changes between this stream and the next stream, that's why, because there are ideas I had, and I'm not waiting till the stream to, because I'm going to be using this world. This world is going to be ever evolving, and if our players do something like, let's say they bring an evil king to power in this region, right? It'll change this, and currently this is what the region looks like if we go off of biomes and cultures. Here, how the cultures are separated, right? As you can see, the names are based on the cultures, and then if we go by states. Here are the different states. Didn't mean to get rid of borders. I like the borders. And then if we want to make it lag, this is going to make it lag. So I'm only going to show you this for a real quick second. This is what it looks like if you have all the little details like trees and mountains. Like this is lagging so much. You can't tell, but it's lagging. Like this button, look at how long it takes for it to open. So we're not going to have this at all times. Purdy. So let's get rid of that as soon as possible. And what I like about this map generator is it can you can add so many things. So let's add like religions. Here's what the religions would look like. Here's what the provinces, like the smaller sections of each state. Here's what the temperature looks like. Although I do need to change this because this is obviously going to be really hot. Here's what the precipitation looks like. How much water there is. We got to lower it here, but we'll do that later. Here's population. Emblems. Different country emblems, which we can go through and work on and change. It's military. You can even do the military. You can even actually, I watched a video. You can have like two military factions go against each other. And like you can change the details, like how many infantry, archers, blah, blah, blah. And like battle them and it'll change stuff. But I'm not going to try and mess with that too much. And then there's, of course, the scale bar down here. Hopping over to Twitch where everyone's chatting. Lol. Sure, yeah. I mean, I can see you on either side. Optimus Philip did ask, will Andrew be here? Well, I'm sure you can tell by now, no. The answer is no. He's not going to be here today. Because he's not here. He can't physically be here. He's busy doing some stuff. He won't be here for the next 2 Wednesdays, including today. So we're probably just going to do chill stuff like this. So I've named the regions, and by regions I mean like, you know how there's America, North America, or there's North America, South America, Asia, Europe, Africa, Australia, stuff like that. So that's what I've named the different areas. So the Deshret, the Crimson Waste, the Emerald Expanse. This is just like a bunch of tree land. As you can see, it tells you what the biome is as I mouse over. So there's a huge taiga. This is a deciduous forest. Temperate deciduous forest, temperate rainforest, Mitherheim. It's a bunch. It says glacier, but really what it is this whole section is like a bunch of huge mountains. Mountain isn't really a, what do you call it? A biome, so it just goes with glacier. Then there's Ogoria. This whole section is Ogoria. This is Shailu. This is the Fruzen. These are the Kobold. This area section here is the Kobold lands. This whole here, it makes it easier if you see it in cultures. Where's cultures? There we go. Everything in red here. Everything in red is Sandal. This is the empire we came up. I'm going to call it the Sandolfin Empire. but the area is called Sandal. Here's the Shrine Islands. Remember, we're working on those right now, the 5 Shrine Islands. This area is called Anor. This is the Jotun Peninsula. This is where all the giants currently are. In my world, they've been driven to this area and a little bit out here in Fruzen. And then there's some giants you can find in the mountains. That's why there's this white. Just because, it wouldn't make sense for giants to only be located. But that's where you're mostly going to find giants. Then this is Theros. This section and this section are Urgrolgan Wilds. Veledicta, Demuria, and Orenheim. And I can go over those a little bit more if you'd like. Everyone come to Twitch. If you're wondering what this is, by the way, this is a hand warmer. My hands are freezing. I have 2 of these, but I can't find one of them. It's kind of pissing me off. I need to know where it is, because that way I can use one while the other one's charging. Or I should just get some new hand warmers, maybe. Anyways. So yeah, you know about the Deshret. We've talked about it. It's the big, huge desert area that's red sand. We know about the Sandalfin Empire. Is there a place of dragons? No, because the dragons have all but disappeared in my world. There are not that many dragons. Are fairly rare. If there's a place with dragons in my world, people are like, "Oh shit, that place is like." Their perceptions, depending on what area of the world you're in, they have a different perception. Some people are like, "Oh, that place is fucked. They got a dragon." Some places are like, "Oh, they must be protected. They have a dragon." It depends on the culture. Oh, I almost forgot this area is, I didn't, sometimes the labels get rewritten. Or when you change stuff, so I forgot to add a label here. It's the Mercy. Right, Mare. Let me just make it a little bigger. That way you can kind of tell it's this section here. And then, of course, I made the different oceans. South Crackus Ocean, North Crackus Ocean. This whole thing is like this whole area here and here, because that's how maps work, is the Crackus Ocean, and then the north and south. Then there's the Eastern Jotun Ocean, the Southern Jotun Ocean. Obviously, giants own these areas. The Desher Ocean, the Cillian Ocean. The Creeping Frost is from that ice I showed you earlier. This is like, it's actually not completely natural, and it's creeping, it's moving, it's actually moving. Every few years the ice gets lower and lower. How about Dragonborn, like Zebek? So the Dragonborn, because of Sandalf, so the Dragonborn used to have their own kind of area here. No, actually it would be here, around this area of the map. However, because Sandalf, so my world, there used to be the Dragon Riders, right? Think like Aragon, think Dragon Riders of Pern. I haven't read that series, but I've read Aragon. So the Dragon Riders, they used to patrol the whole area, and they didn't belong to any one nation. They had, but they had a strong control. They were mostly found. I think I haven't decided where their base of operations would be, but I wanted to have it be like an island, like they had their own island basically. And the Dragon Riders would patrol the whole area, and there used to be the Dragonborn kind of had their own nation here. However, when the Dragon Riders disappeared overnight. Nobody knows what happened to them. Over 500 years ago, they just disappeared, and a lot of the dragons disappeared too. And since then, the Sandalfin Empire has risen up, and they have started preaching that it is like the dragons, they abandon us, and the Dragonborn they need to be hunted down and captured and enslaved. So they've taken over where the Dragonborn used to be, as you can see in red, the Sandal Empire. So let's get rid of cultures for now. See, this area used to be it, but now it's all part of Sandal. All of it's part of Sandal, and so the Dragonborn have all been spread out and separated. You can find tribes of Dragonborn out in the Kobold lands, in the Deshret. There's some wandering tribes in Ogoria, some in Shilu, a few in Anor, but there are small groups, not tribes, like less than 50 people, 50 less than groups of 50 Dragonborn all through Sandal. So there's no nation of Dragonborn. They are all lost, essentially. They are a lost people. Also, important question of the day. How did you celebrate New Year's? How did you? Yeah, you. I'm talking directly to you. How did you celebrate New Year's? Because it is the one holiday everyone on the world celebrates. Whether you're European, American, Asian, South American, whatever. You celebrate New Year's. And there's multiple ways to celebrate it. There's no right way, there's no wrong way. And anything you do on New Year's is a celebration. Because to me, a celebration is an acknowledgement of an important event. And not hating it. So long as you don't hate it, like, oh, fuck, it's a New Year's. God damn it, I just want to kill everybody because it's New Year's. Nobody does that. Nobody's like, oh, fuck New Year's. It's a corporate holiday. Or like, the American Thanksgiving where it's like, it's Thanksgiving. I'm just going to ignore my family because I hate my dad right now. Like, no one's like, New Year's. It's made up by the government. Like, no one. Wearing a Hawaiian shirt. Nice. The Dragonborn are nationless. Yes, they are a nationless people. I played Elden Ring until 6 a.m. 2 thumbs up, bro. I was up until 2 a.m., partially because Claire didn't come home until after midnight because she had a New Year's job at the speakeasy. My family eats hors d'oeuvres and drinks sparkling cider while watching whatever Times Square broadcast is least annoying. I like that. That's a chill way to do it. I went to the Gurdwala temple with my family and then made a special dish for dinner, which I'm about to consume. Nice! Nice. I love that. Dude, I gotta say, I love all of your things. I wish I could have done all of them at once. I also liked what I did. I just kind of chilled at home. Chat, why does Zagard have a map of Pangea open here? Oh yeah, Dorn's probably muted, so chat if you want to talk to him. And thank you for the 72 months in a row of subscribing. Thank you, Doran. That means a lot. Chilling at home is pretty sick as well. I was playing some Pokemon TCG Pocket, by the way. I'm not addicted to that, I swear. Anyway, so I will go over the current world of Bellaria. Chilling at home sick is not cool, though. Yeah, Doran is sick right now. Feels bad. It's a map for his TTRPG world. Thank you, Yuki. So you might notice that these bigger names correspond to a culture. Because I in my idea head, if you were missing earlier, cultures are similar to like continents, the way we look at them. Like Asia and Europe, realistically, they are not different continents. There's no definition that explains why those are different continents, but they are. So that's how I see cultures like continents. So Sandal this is the continent of Sandal, essentially. This is the continent of Anor. But you also know that it reaches a little into the landmass of Sandal. Because Anor, or Anor, however you want to call it. I might put an extra N. I haven't decided. Also, why is there... I want to get rid of the markers. Why are the... Where are they? Where's the... There we go. Get rid of the icons. I don't like all the red dots right now. Those will be important for later, but for now we'll... Yeah, anyways, Anor, it's a seafaring nation, and they have expanded about here, and they actually control a little bit of this area and a little bit of these border areas. If you notice, Sandal reaches all the way up here, and it even touches here a bit. This area is like they've reached into Agoria a little bit. Why is it not zooming out anymore? There we go. It's lagging a bit. Just a little bit of lag. I'm going to put this map in the people who owns the area on Discord or the community tab. I will definitely do both of those. Actually, I love both those idea creeper. I didn't think to do it, but I would love to do it. You guys let me know. Let me know. That's one of the reasons I don't like continents as geographic dividers. Yeah, but yeah. You see, you have to have some sort of geographic divider. And really, I really think we should just call it Eurasia instead of Europe and Asia, because physically they are the same physical location. I mean, it's like Russia. We call all of that Russia, and we're not like, oh, well, actually, it's all part of Russia. It's completely, like, like, Russia is so big. I know it's all the same country and whatever. Europe and Asia are separated by the Ural mountain range. What about India? Does that mountain range go through India? It's like map of world by mount. This is how I was actually making my world, by the way. I would like look up map of the world by blah, 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 blah. Let's see. Where's a better picture? This will be fun. So, like, is India... where's the mountain range here? Holy fuck, this image is bad. No, let's not do that. Let's find a good image. There we go. So it doesn't cut off here and doesn't cut off... Like, Asia is this. Like, does it go like this? Does it literally split it? No. It doesn't. If we go by tectonic plates, the whole thing gets confusing. It makes no sense. Like, I'm not even kidding you. Like, here. Let's see. Map of the world. Map of the world. Right? By tectonic plates. If we go by tectonic plates, this is a continent. This section makes no freaking sense. Like, what? And these aren't even all the tectonic plates. They're like hundreds of tectonic plates. This is it doesn't work. I'm not saying Asia and Europe aren't different. They are clearly different. I just like, we should really be calling it Eurasia. Like, that is a continent. Anyways, we're going way off map. Literally, we're going off map. Into South Asia instead of just India, you get the Himalayas and Hindu Kush mountains. Yeah, it gets too confusing. I just go by Eurasia. Culturally, it's Asia and Europe. Totally, I get that. Europe and Asia, very different cultures. Geographically, it's Eurasia. My proposal is to abandon continents and use subcontinents. I don't know enough about that, but let me know. Ishnavir, thank you for the Happy New Year's, and Happy New Year's to you, good sir. So anyways, let me just go over a quick explanation of what all these areas are. We know Sandal. That one's pretty close. We know Deshret. We have done it. The Urgrogan Wilds. What do you think the Urgrogan Wilds are? I'm going to let chat try and figure that one out. Anor, I've talked about. It's a seafaring nation that has roots all over the world. I might get rid of this later, but I'll get rid of it based on cultural events. We'll do that. We know about the Shrine Islands. We started working on those. The Jotun Peninsula. That one is easy. That's where a bunch of giants are. Pretty straightforward. Kobold lands. Fruzen. Those are pretty straightforward. Bunch of giants here. This is the lands where kobolds control. The only reason Sandal hasn't taken over these lands yet, there are like a few reasons. One is this is where like the creeping frost has started to get into, and it's too cold, so it makes it really hard to take over, kind of like Russia in World War I and in World War II. Great Eddie Izzard joke about it. Go look it up. There's also some kobolds here, which the reason these ones haven't been taken over, even though it's a little bit warmer, is because of Shilu. Shilu is one of the 2 areas where there are still where it is high elves. The high elves own this area. This is where you'll find high elves. Sandal is angel-born. They run that. Anor, Ogoria, and Deshret are human-run areas. Theros is another high elf nation that owns this area. The Emerald Expanse is forest elves. The Mercy is ocean elves. Veledicta, the drow, or dark elves. Demuria is a gnome nation. The main reason Sandal hasn't taken over Demuria is because, one, they don't need to. Gnomes have been pretty neutral about the whole expansion thing. And there's so they haven't decided to try and take them in their conquest yet. Orenheim is another set of mountains similar to Mitherheim. Mitherheim is dwarves. Orenheim is Druagar, or Grey Dwarves. Where's our character going to be from? I haven't decided that yet. We'll see. Mattman and CGP Grey have both convinced me that the continents are just arbitrary and kind of meaningless. They are arbitrary. I mean, let's be honest. All designations of things are arbitrary to a point. Like when it comes to math and science or something, that's not arbitrary. There's like tests that go into like, oh, this is what this is like. But ultimately, everything is arbitrary. Ultimately, all classifications are arbitrary in some way or another. What program are you using for this? It's called Asgar's Fantasy Map Generator. AZGAAR''S Fantasy Map Generator. You can just literally look up Fantasy Map Generator, and it's one of the first options. Oh, I don't like how... So, this program tends to lag a bit. And it lags way more while I'm streaming, I've noticed. But even the entirety of biological classification is arbitrary. Yes and no. Because there is some, like, science to it. There is a science to it, like, based on DNA, bone structure, different sorts of enzymes that the animal produces, the way its anatomy and biology works. Like, birds are obviously different than cats, which are different than dogs, which are different than people. But ultimately, when it comes down to it, all animals are basically the same. We all have eyes, mouth, stomach, limbs. Like, this is why when you watch a sci-fi movie where there are aliens from outer space, realistically, they're not aliens. They're just different humans. Because who's to say that if we ever run into aliens, who's to say they will have a mouth or even a spine or limbs? Like, what if it's like some creature that survives off of hydrogen? So it has like a complete, like, its structure would be so different from ours. Logically, they would be completely different. It would make no sense. I heard the thing about continents is if you take the classroom definition at face value, Afro-Eurasia is a single continent that covers some ridiculously large portion of the Earth's landmass and population. I agree. I love talking about that. Well, be careful, see. There are animals without eyes. Jellyfish. That's true. Jellyfish are probably the most alien creature that we can think of logically. Realistically, okay, that makes it easier for any alien will most likely be like a jellyfish. It would make no sense to our brains. Jellyfish barely make sense to us now. Jellyfish can do things that like no other animal can do, like reverting their biology to when they were younger. Like that makes what? That makes no sense. They can just do that. The question is, why would they do that? Do they have like plans? Is it a survival mechanism? Probably that, but like, you know what I mean. Very partial what TV tropes calls starfish aliens. One word. Fungus. So are they not even an animal then? See, like anyways, again, we're getting off map. So have you guys figured out what your Grogan wilds are yet? I want to see what chat has figured out while this has been going. What has happened to my music? So yeah, we got Starro. So if there's any of these cultures or continents, I'm gonna call it, that you're curious about, let me know. I want to share. I want to share with my friends. Hell if I know. It's where the furries are at. It's not where the furries are at. So if you've read the Aragon series, instead of orcs, he has things called urgles. And that's what these areas are. These are pockets where nations haven't really been able to get a foothold just because the urgles are so prevalent here and here. My world also, instead of orcs, the D&D orcs or the Tolkien orcs, they are more like urgles, which are more like, they're more akin to the original old school D&D orcs, where modern day orcs, they're just basically muscular with green teeth and maybe a couple of tusks. No. In my world, orcs don't look like people. They don't look completely human. They have like these kind of pig faces. These like, here, I'll D&D first edition orcs. They're more akin to this, where they have these like kind of snouty faces, and they have these, but they also have these huge tusks like these guys. They don't look good. They look, there we go. That's it's kind of like a mix of this and this. The snout isn't quite so long out, but it is, and then their tusks are huge, and they also have horns. Is this on a globe or is this under the truth? I hope that answers your question. This map is north up, right? Yes, north is up. I'm going to keep it simple for myself, my sanity. North is up, south is down. This isn't like this isn't like what do you call it? Ancient Europe, where they used to actually the north used to be this way, north and south, and then east and west was this way. Back in like the 1100s? I don't remember. I know back in the day, this used to be north and this used to be south. Now obviously we go based on the poles. But there was I think it had to do with the sun. They were like, obviously the sun comes up from there and then it goes down. So that's up, that's down. That was our logic. And it makes sense if you don't know what the north and south pole is and you don't know about electromagnetism and things like that. So you notice my favorite fact about them is they have zero mathematical curvature. Huh. I'm going to cosplay a Kainu and make a donut. What the heck? North on top didn't really become a thing until compasses were invented. Yeah, I would say until the modern compass, because there are technically versions of compasses before the modern compass in the vaguest of definition of compasses, but what we consider a compass today, yes. Doran spoilers. To be fair, it's like a 15-year-old spoiler at this point. It's not even a spoiler. Like, if something has been around for 5 years, can you really call it a spoiler anymore? At that point, it's just news. Like, imagine if I was like, by the way, it's, by the way, cell phones. That's a thing. You'd be like, yeah, that's not a spoiler. what kind of beings live in Shilu and what kind of culture do they have? I'm glad you asked. So Shilu is one of the areas where you will find high elves. See, before the Sandal Empire kind of took over, and we at the height of the Riders, the high elves kind of ruled everything. Pretty much everywhere was either elf land or dwarf land, and then maybe you'd find some kobolds or gnomes. Like the Dimmer Nation used to be way smaller. It used to be about the size of Orunheim. Only about this area used to be Dimmeria. And Veledicta used to actually encompass all of this. Like all of this. And this all used to be Shilu. All of this used to be Shilu. Mitherheim also used to be smaller. I mean, it's still just based on the geographical... Here, let me get rid of cultures, and you'll see. It's still based on this geographical kind of area. Where's the height map? The height map will make it easier. So this helps. This is the height map. I might actually move where Orunheim is to over here. I'll think about that. Yeah, we'll do that later. So this area used to be it used to be much smaller, mostly just kind of in here, but it's spread out since the when the Riders were around. The High Elves basically owned most of the land, and the human empires were much smaller. For instance, the Forest Elves here used to actually own like this whole half of the continent. But then with the fall of the Riders and the rise of the Angelborn through religious decree, which we haven't fully decided on yet, they started expanding. And now, like, the High Elf nations have kind of moved back to their foresty areas. All this is grassland, by the way. We can hear cultures. Where's biomes? There we go. This is all like grasslands, as you can see, for the most part. Desert. It actually makes it really look good when you have cultures on top of it. Dio fits that. I'll cosplay and make your world a donut then. Meanwhile, the old Arab North American maps put out south at the top. Can't recall any particular reason. Yeah, I think it was probably because something to do with magnetic poling or something. I don't remember. How advanced is each race and nation? So I'm not great at explaining how advanced an area is per se. But let's say Middle Ages, fantasy Middle Ages. So Shilu and Theros are two of the more advanced ones. So is Veledicta, but they have issues. They are different. Yes, they're the High Elves, the Drow, the Dark Elves, the Forest Elves, the Sea Elves. The Sea Elves actually used to own basically all the edges of the continent. They used to be everywhere. You could find a Sea Elf anywhere because they controlled the edges. Now they've been shrunken down to just this region. There are actually a lot of reasons. It actually started with the High Elves kind of kicking them out and killing them. There's a lot of shit that happened in my world. Is there a world with Dragon Song? That is the first question I want to ask you guys. So let's get rid of height map and everything. Or we'll keep the height map and icons. And we'll get rid of labels for now. So you see each of these little dotterinos. Each of these is what's called a burg, which is, it could be a city, a town, whatever. It could be a capital. Let's see, I've separated. So as you see, this one is a capital here. I don't know why this is also the capital. It keeps randomizing stuff like that. We'll make this the capital for now. So purple is capital. If it has an anchor, it's port town, obviously. Then there's the and you can change different, like the population, increase it, decrease it, whatever. And it has randomly generated symbols and maps for them, which is really nice, from 2 other websites that are made by the same guy. So where do we want to put Dragon Song? What kind of area do you think Dragon Song is in? Now, personally, I think it would be in Sandal. Somewhere in Sandal. Because it would be the only way to explain why they have to hide so much. Because Sandal is the only country, is one of the few countries that actually, like, hunts them down. They are actively hunting and capturing them for reasons that I'm not going to tell you about. They would be fine in Shilu and the Mercy and Theros. Not in the Jotun Peninsula. They would be dead because dragons and giants do not like each other. You do not find Dragonborn here. If you do, it's super rare. They wouldn't be in the Urgrolgan Wilds or the on the other side. You could find it in Orgoria. They might. Dragon Song might be in Orgoria, and it might be in Sandal. Those are the 2 areas I want to say it's in. Where would you find a giant dragon statue? It's not a dragon statue, per se. Remember? It doesn't look like a dragon. It looks more human than dragon. That's why they let it stay. See, the Angelborn, they look at themselves as the top. We are the closest to gods. We are the closest to gods. We have wings. We have halos. We were created directly. Most of the races in my world, by the way, were created by the gods. Like, they literally, like, when they were making the world, there was a god who was like, I'm going to give them wings and, like, halo-like things. Bam. They're going to look kind of like me. And they're going to have, like, a longer lifespan. They're going to have more energy. Angelborn in my world they were made by gods. And then, like, the god of nature and magic made the elves. 2 different gods. And then they kind of disagreed on how they should be made. And then there are a bunch of different nature gods. That's why there's the forest ones and then the sea ones. The god of the earth and riches made the dwarves. And then the gray dwarves were kind of I forget which god they were made by. And then the kobolds were actually made by the god of dragons. They were made as like a subservient race for dragons. And then the dragonborn aren't born, they are made. They are for all intents and purposes, a man-made creation. They can give birth now, but they were made by the dragon riders. And then, without spoiling it, there's something unique about humans that's separate from all the other ones. I won't say what it is. You should watch the first episode of Secret Level. It's the D&D one. Secret Level. I've never heard of Secret Level. It involves Durgon. Durgon? Poggers. See, I don't remember. It's been a while. So, yeah. And the Angelborn actually see themselves, because they are like, we are the closest to gods. We are the greatest race in the world. And our belief will help improve the world. And there was one guy who's kind of like tainting their beliefs right now and is getting them all to... He's the leader of the Sandalfin Empire. And he's causing their expansion throughout the world. And then they see after angels are humans. Humans look the most like Angelborn, so they're like, yeah, you guys are cool. You guys are below us, but only slightly. Like it's like those people who try to act like, oh, we are equal. We're just more equal than you. We're just slightly more equal. Okay, don't worry about it. That's how they kind of look at it. Again, because of this one guy. I haven't named him yet, but there's this one guy, their leader, who's kind of like spreading this doctrine, this belief that they are the best. And then after them is humans are great. And then the elves are actually they actually see elves as tainted humans, elves and dwarves. They see them as tainted humans because elves, their empire used to use a lot of magic, and they believe, and there's some truth to this, but they see that the way the elves used to use magic has affected the weave, and they're like, oh, your tainted use of magic is bad. And then they see dwarves as tainted humans because of their obsession with gold and treasure and mining. And then everyone looks down on Urgles. Everyone looks down on Urgles, and that's partially the Urgles' fault. Their whole culture is centered around fighting, and who the best warrior is the top. So they tend to like they have a bad image, basically. I'm not saying they're good or bad guys, but this is just how people see them. And then gnomes, everybody's kind of neutral about gnomes. They're not really sure how to think about them because gnomes are actually a fairly young race compared to most of the races besides the humans. Their empires are very new. Their empire here is very new, or their culture has recently spread. And the Sandal look at them as like, I don't like how they are obsessed with currency, but they're not obsessed with gold and treasure the same way dwarves are. And then kobolds, people mostly find either scary or annoying. You've convinced me. I vote Dragon Song goes in Sandal. Have you watched The Dragon Prince? I watched the first 2.5 seasons of The Dragon Prince, and I liked it okay. Christianity God having a dinosaur phase. Zagreed's gods having a dragon phase. Okay, so the lore of how it happened is... So when the world was first made, the gods just kind of hung out. They just liked their creation. They all kind of created it together. So there was one god who created all the other gods. And then it's kind of like Tolkien, but, not exactly the same. So then they created the world. But it like, they didn't really, like, they would have fights over how the world should be, like how sun time should be. And they also wanted to have creatures live there. So they put the primordials. Originally, they were the primordials. Beings who exist as parts of nature. Like there was the primordial of plants, the primordial of water, the primordial of earth, the primordial of ice, the primordial of fire, the primordial, those guys. And the primordials liked the world they lived in, but they wanted to shape it themselves. And the gods did not like that. And so there was a huge fight between the primordials and the gods. And the primordials almost won. But the last minute they didn't. So a lot of them have been locked away in different areas along by Laria. We know of where one is locked away. We do. The citizens on the planet might not know, but we do know about the one that's in Midpoint, remember? That's where they get their water. The heart of a primordial is there. And it's actually a prison, but they don't know that. And then after the primordials, they decided, okay, we're going to make another race. But it's going to be two separate races, and they aren't going to have the power to shape the world as easily as the primordials did. So then they created the dragons and the giants. And the dragons and the giants constantly fought over who was better. Like it used to be like literally the world was split down like this way, diagonally. The dragons had basically all of this. And then the giants had all of this. But then the giants started breaking off into factions of like storm giants, mountain giants, hill giants, stuff like that. And the dragons started breaking off into factions of like red dragons, blue dragons, purple dragons, so stuff like that. And then they started having a lot of infighting between each other, and then it started fracturing their nations even more. And then their wars were so powerful, they were reshaping the land. For instance, where's the height map? Here, let's get rid of biomes. This mountain here didn't exist. This mountain range came to existence when dragons and giants fought each other in a war where they literally smashed the earth, and it created a bunch of mountain ranges. Uh, and eventually they had to stop their fighting. And the elves were the ones to stop the fighting by causing... They did a thing, and I won't say what the thing did, but it caused the dragons and giants to kind of dwindle in numbers and population. And then that's what let the elves start to take over. And then the elves split between the high elves, the drow, the forest elves, the sea elves. And there's actually a secret fifth group of elves that I'm not going to tell you about because you might run into them later. But there's a secret group of elves that used to exist. But the other elves were jealous of that group. And things happened, and they basically wiped them off the planet. Or so the history says. Now this is a... So then anyways, the elves started taking over. And then as the elves were taking over, the dwarves started to grow in power, along with the kobolds. And then the dragon riders came, and they created the dragonborn. And I'm just doing this so that way people can see what the temperature of the world is actually like. I need to change this for sure. And I need to change this to move it over here. We'll do that later. So then the dragon riders created the dragonborn. And they were kind of like a police force for the dragon riders. Because there weren't that many dragon riders. There were maybe a few thousand. All across the planet. So they created the dragonborn to be like police officers, peacekeepers in the land. And there used to be a lot more. And then, of course, when they disappeared, now the Sandal Empire has taken over and da-da-da-da-da. Let's see. I need to catch up on the chat. The latest season ended with a... So if it is not renewed for another season, watching it until now would have just been a waste of time. I wouldn't say it's a waste of time, but it would definitely be disappointing. But that does happen. Have you heard of Fafnir? And if yes, do you think there will be a character like him? Fafnir? I mean, there might be, but I don't know if I'll follow exactly. Was that temperature and freedom? Clearly this, yes. I think you can actually change what temperature is in. But yeah, I put it in freedom units. I kind of don't like that when you write the biomes, it doesn't completely change the thing, but whatever. Okay, let's go to height map. I'm going to change where the I'm going to change where Olrenheim is. Which one is Olrenheim? It's hard to remember all this stuff because, let's see, Dwarven. Wait, we should go by Dwarven. Grey Dwarves. Kirothal. These were all generated, by the way. I keep wanting to press one of my editing buttons to change stuff, but that's not how this works. See, this is why I did this live stream. I knew it would help me notice some stuff I had missed by accident. Let's see. Let's see how this looks. Yeah, that's fine. We'll now let's see. Do lander. I gotta change the. If you haven't noticed, out of laziness, I made the cultures and borders the same. Realistically, they wouldn't be, but that's me. I want to do that. Now we change the states. What color is Orunheim again? Let's go by culture. Grey Dwarves. Entil. Or Entin. Ooh, is that temperature literally unwatchable? Can't wait for that eradicated group of elves to be the key to overthrowing Sandal. What's your favorite personal nation? My favorite personal nation. I want to see if chat can guess. I'll give you 3 guesses. All right. It's between Sandal, Agoria, and Sandal or Agoria, and I'm trying to think of what my third one would be. Well, I'm trying to figure out if I want to tell you about a certain one. Probably the Dwarven Nation. I'm forgetting the name of it off the top of my head. Not Urunheim, because that's the Grey Dwarves. I made this myself, and I still can't remember shit. You know what they say? If I didn't have my birthday tattooed onto my eyelids. What is this? Oh, I didn't color it in all the way. Okay. Oh, no, I did. Wait, was I not coloring this correctly? Did I make this neutral? I did. I'm so stupid. Sandal because of sandals. Hi, Alpha. What is the reason you created this? Because I run a D&D campaign. And I want to have a world for them to run around in that not only will I be able to futz around with on my time off, not only can I stream this with you guys and you can help me make it, but also the players can have some input on things. And this way, if they do something in a certain region, or they kill like a leader, or they get him deposed, I can have it affect my world. And it'll be a little bit easier to do that. That's my reason. And plus it's fun. Why I'm doing this on stream is because I can. Zooming in so that way I can actually see what I'm working with, you know? novel concept. Now let's make sure. Okay, that should be good. Dim order is the gnomes. So we're actually going to expand dimmer. I do like how the borders instantly change once you change the state. Watch, the borders here are going to swap. Bam. New borders. I do have to change the state feature, though. States. Oops, wrong one. Nope. Cancel. No, Gnomes is dimmer. There we go. Now let's make sure that lines up. Cool. And let's make the font a little bigger, because it's actually a slightly bigger place now. And then let's see it based on the height map. Yeah, that works. And then edit cultures. Which one is it? Grey dwarves. Why is that? Oh, I see why. Okay. Where is my brain is blanking. Keithrel. Why is this still here? What is this? Huh. Okay. Hello, Wrench. Hello. Web Captain. I am a big fan of you and Mythology Guys. Black Myth Wukong's playthrough. I'm new to your content, but I really like it. Please keep going. Oh, thank you. That's so sweet of you. I am so grateful you guys are here. That actually means a lot. I'm sorry if I'm not paying attention to the chat too much. It's because I was working on this thing. So just chat along. If I miss your message, please message it again. Just make sure a good amount of time has passed. Don't just like spam like, hey, how are you doing? How you doing? How you doing? How are you doing? Over and over again. That will piss me off. Is there a POV when God was making the earth? No, unfortunately not. I do not think of a way to record that. Since someone else guessed Sandal, I will go for Agoria. First of all, you spelled Agoria wrong. And the answer is, I forgot we asked that question, so I'm just going to answer now. Agoria is actually currently my favorite, because it's the one I've put the most time into off stream. So before I even started streaming this, before I even started not before I started, but when I started running my D&D world, the first thing I thought of was the nation of Agoria. And I have a fairly good idea of how Agoria is and how they relate to the rest of the world. So I have that's why it's my favorite right now. I actually like it with the height map. I like how the height map makes the ocean look. He's been neglecting us because we've been naughty. What do you want most in terms of games that come to Switch 2? I want a new traditional 3D Zelda. Probably not going to happen, but it is what I want. If this is like my dream wish, like I've got a genie bottle, and I can make 3 wishes. First is that, a traditional 3D Zelda. Second is a Paper Mario that plays like the old games did from Thousand Year Door and has the story of like Super Paper Mario. Great, like mix those together. And then third, what would I want third from? Really, I just want those two, but I guess what would I want third from a Switch 2? A new IP. A new Pikmin game. A really good new Pikmin game. We recently got one, so it will probably be another like 5+ years, but I'd like that. Metagaming had my back. Life tip. First life tip of the year. All right, let me look up my life tip notes. New Kid Icarus win. A new Kid Icarus never more like. Not that I don't like the idea of Kid Icarus, but let's be honest, those games do not sell well. There's a reason why when they rebooted it on the Game Boy, or not the Game Boy, the DS, and we still haven't gotten a new game. Is this the right foot? Yes. Sorry, I'm putting my so my life tip. If life is ever getting stressful, you know, find ways to relieve that stress. You know, have a nice snack. You know, a healthy snack that makes you happy. Go on a walk. Maybe go on a drive. Maybe like 10 miles, 100 miles, 30,000 miles away. Change your name. Change your identity. Become a new person. You know, just these are all just ways to relieve stress. You know, a Hyrule Warriors sequel like the original, not Age of Calamity. Interesting. I don't want that. I like the ideas of those games, but I finished the original story of it like one time, and I was like, meh, that was fine. That's not what I want out of a Zelda game. On top of that, they're not even canon Zelda games, so they don't matter to me. Not that they're not important to someone, but I like the canon Zelda games more than the non-canon Zelda games. And yes, it is non-canon. Both of them are non-canon. Originally, people were like, this is like a canon Zelda game. And then it's like, oh, actually, it's not a canon. He's right, snacks are helpful. Are you just skipping over the part where I said, move 30,000 miles away and change your identity? New Cyberpunk win, Sag. So, new Cyberpunk will come in the next 5 years. We don't got to wait that long for that. The only thing that's going to take Cyberpunk a while is development time. That's the only thing. I guarantee it. Cyberpunk was too big of a success story for all of its faults. Web Captain, is there anything in particular you like about this current content? And Ishvanir, what do you want out of a Switch 2? So those are my 3 things. I want a Paper Mario game with the gameplay of Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and the story of Super Paper Mario. I want a new 3D Zelda. Yes, I am going to save this. Always save to machine. It's the safest way to keep it. I want a new 3D Zelda that plays more like traditional Zelda, not like Breath of the Wild or Tears of the Kingdom. That focuses on like story. Maybe even as good as Majora's Mask. I doubt it. And then a new Pikmin. Those are my only wishes. That's a minor detail, Z. What's a minor detail? New Cyberpunk will have a Luigi Magione clip instead of Johnny. True. Actually true. Johnny was basically that. Let's be honest. There's a reason why that sentiment has been around for a while. It's pervasive in all cultures. Like, I don't think there's a single culture out there who's like, no, this is fine. Everywhere across the world, like, no, this is not fine. Minor detail was moving 30,000 miles away. Oh yeah, true. Minor details. Minor details. Changing your identity, minor detail. I do that every Tuesday. Some days I'm Sagard. Sometimes I'm Sagledo. The bullfighter. We fight with our fisticuffs. Just imagine that, like you're actually fighting the bull. All right, so I'm just gonna find a place in Sandal for whatchamacallit, to put Dragon Song. So real quick. Thank you, Mason. If I can't read your name, it's not you, it's me. I have dainbermage. Anyways, thank you for joining us. What was I gonna say? What kind of biome do you guys imagine Dragon Song to be in? All right, is it like in the grassland? Yeah, it says at the bottom, by the way. Can you guys see at the bottom there where it says biome, grassland? Masio. Cool, Masio. It's like Masico, but not that. See how I have to remember things? It's like something that isn't that. Zoom in a bit more. I can't really zoom in on this part. It's only as big as it. I could maybe add a thing to make it easier to read. If you guys would be cool with that. Cool with giving me a second to do that. Games I want to switch to is a 3D Zelda game that incorporated the freedom of Breath of the Wild in the exploration and dungeon. The more like the dungeons for traditional Zelda games. That would be the dream. That's probably not going to happen for multiple reasons. I can go into it. Dragon Song in the Frozen Wasteland. You mean where they're not being hunted at all? I mean, that could work. Actually, I would be fine with that. In Frozen or Southern Enor. Frozen. If you can't tell, by the way, I took some of these names from special languages of Google Translate. A second Pokemon game that is fully baked with both visual gameplay and story. That is a literal genie wish right there. That is a straight up genie wish. I'm sorry, Ishnavir. I don't mean to like shit on your idea. I would love that, but that is a genie wish for all intents and purposes. At least the other ones, like I could see maybe mine coming if like all the pieces line up, but that one is a genie wish. And not because I don't trust Nintendo or Pokemon Company to make a game like that, but because of the way that their current structure of making Pokemon games works, it is not going to happen. I can explain it. It's a whole. Once you understand why they don't make games as clean as they do for Zelda or Mario, you're like, oh yeah, it's not going to happen until X, Y, and Z factors happen. Strat of Google translating shit. Dragon Song is full of lizard races. They would be weak in the cold. The counterpoint. A snowman could live there then. You know, he does have a good point, Alpha. He does have a good point. Do you have a counter argument, good sir? Keep it civil, of course. No name calling, and no throwing banana peels. We don't want anybody slipping and hurting their Craxus. But I do, if I had a genie wish, honestly, that would be on one of my genie wishes. Not because I love not because I love Pokemon, but because I want Pokemon to, like, I want there to be the perfect Pokemon game. It's not going to happen, but I would love that. Oi, sir, I will throw all the bananas I want. Then you shall be arrested in contempt of court, good sir. Creeper, tell us why. Tell us why what? Why what? Who what? Who what? Who what, when, where, and why? And the sixth question. Nah. Nah. You don't know what that's from. It's from an old YouTube video of people reading out and playing out when dating online was first becoming a thing. People would make so many jokes about like the weird guys online that would write things. Now that's basically becoming the norm because online dating is garbage. Why it's a literal genie wish. Okay, I'll explain my first thing first because my ADHD is gonna. I really wish that could happen. Honestly, Shinavir, even though it's not one of my wishes, I wish your wish could come true. So when online dating first became a thing, there was a YouTube channel that would read and act out texts between men and women on online dating, and there was this one where the guy's like, "Hey, you want to meet up here?" After he said a bunch of like really weird shit like, "You want to suck my D? I can't wait to have your eyes looking straight into mine as you honk on my sausage," or something like that. And then he was like, "Hey, you want to have a date here?" And she's like, "Okay, sure." And then the next message is just a bunch of question marks, and they read it as "Nyeh." So if you ever hear me and Andrew go "Nyeh," that's what we're quoting. "Nyeh, where are you?" Just one text message that was like 3 question marks. And I think it had an exclamation point. I can't remember. So I'll read Ishnavir's thing, and then I'll explain to Creeper and everyone else about the Pokemon thing. Dragon Song should go next to a territory that is hostile against it, but also a location where they are suitable for them to live, so it is worth it for them to fight and not run away. So the thing about Dragon Song is they're actually a hidden nation. Ishnavir, you weren't here when we were making this. Dragon Song is a nation of dragonborn, lizard people, kobolds, any reptilian race, a couple of Yuan-Ti and stuff, that they're being hunted by the Sandolphin Empire, which is part of the region of Sandol. And like a couple hundred years ago, they found this giant statue, like 30,000 feet tall. And they hid inside the statue, and they have made a nation inside the statue. But very few people know about them because they're hidden. They're trying to hide from the Empire. And there's a whole history about how they're able to hide and what they do while they hide there and how they're able to survive. And we can go into that later. But for now, I got to explain the Pokemon thing because I've been holding off on it for too long. So when you think of them making a Pokemon game, you think of it as just, oh, they're making a Pokemon game and then they release the Pokemon game. But there are so many factors that go into making a Pokemon game. First of all, there's all the new Pokemon they got to make. And then all those new Pokemon lead into the new region, right? So that's like, they're now making a new game. They're making a new region. They're making new Pokemon. Then you got to make when you make a region, it's like world creation. They got to do all that stuff. And then there's new moves they got to come up with, new type combinations possibly, new legendaries, new starters, blah, blah. We're already on like 7 or 8 things they got to do just to make a Pokemon game. But they can't just spend their time making a Pokemon game because as soon as a new Pokemon game releases, what else releases within about 6 months? New anime, new movie, new trading card, new plushies, new promotional material. So many when they come out with new Pokemon, they make all this other stuff. And all of that stuff makes a bunch of money on top of the new Pokemon game making a bunch of money. Like let's look at how much did Scarlet and Violet make? Right? Scarlet and Violet made $1.5 billion approximately. Right? That's just the game. Then there's how many packs for the are there since so here's all the TCG expansions since Scarlet and Violet. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 expansions. It looks like there are even more. No, so this is Sword and Shield. So there have been 12 expansions since Scarlet and Violet came out. Just since Scarlet and Violet. Scarlet and Violet came out, what, 2 years ago? Came out in 2022, November, not even 2 full years. Wait, no. Barely more than 2 full years, I should say. And they've already come out with 12 expansions just for the card game. And so that's $1.5 billion for the video game. Then this is probably another $2 billion just for all these cards, because it's not like you just buy the decks. That's a bunch more money. Then there's the anime they come out with, and then there's all the plushies for each Pokemon, and then there's a bunch of other toys. There's so much merchandising that goes into Pokemon that you don't even think about on a daily thing. You just think this is the Pokemon game. But making the Pokemon game makes everything else in Pokemon. It makes all the plushies, all the Pokemon cards, all the TV shows, blah, 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 blah. If there's something Pokemon related, officially Pokemon related, it is connected to that game. So to make new Pokemon stuff, they have to make the new Pokemon game because it always follows. Like the original anime, which is Ash, existed because they were going to make a manga, which existed because they made the game, and the game was popular. The Pokemon trading card game existed because the game existed, and they're the Pokemon. The plushies existed because people wanted to collect the plushies. Like so they can't just sit back and be like, we're gonna work on the game. We're gonna spend 3 years making it, maybe 4 years to really get it like clean and stable and up and running. No, they have to make it every 2 to 3 years, because if they don't, people stop buying the trading cards. People stop watching the anime. People stop buying the manga. People stop buying the plushies. And suddenly that $1.5 billion disappears overnight. It disappears overnight. Because eventually, once like the pro trading cards, they already have, like the pros pretty much already have all the game. All the whales already bought it all. Right? Like, are you buying a Pokemon plushie? Do you plan to buy a official Pokemon plushie anytime soon? Or a trading card pack? Or another copy of Scarlet and Violet? Or are you planning to watch the anime or go to any of those new movies? Like, is there what's the next Pokemon movie coming out? No officially announced one, right? There's not one coming out. Last Pokemon movie. There's no officially announced Pokemon movie stayed for release. The last one was Secrets of the Jungle. Okay. How much did Pokemon... So it grossed about $23 million. Right? But here's some related information. Yeah, it doesn't tell me. Ouch. So we don't know how much it cost. But... Oh no, it grossed $2.02 billion apparently. Oh, they haven't made a movie since 2021? So, this is why... Actually, I'll keep those open. This... And I'll just put... This... This... This all official Scarlet and Violet plushies. Like this, all of these things make billions on their own. They make billions on their own. Like this was $1.5 billion. This was $2 billion. Okay, so you're already at 3.5. This probably makes another, like, let's just say $500 million. So that's we're now at $4 billion. And then this is it's gonna be another like $2 billion. So it's like $6 billion every 2 years over the course of time. And eventually they can't make any more cards because there are no new Pokemon. They can't make any new movies because there's no new legendaries or mythicals. They can't make any more plushies because there's no new Pokemon. And there's no new Pokemon because there's no new Pokemon game. So what they have to do is they have to make a new Pokemon game. And because they have to make a new one, they can't spend that much time working on the mechanics, the graphics, the story, the designs, the glitches. They can't work on all that stuff and make it all good. They have to make enough of it good for people to buy it. Just enough. So that's why, while I would love a second Pokemon game that is fully baked with both visuals, gameplay, and story, I would love that. If I had a genie, I would wish for that. Like, just every Pokemon game is really well made. It's not going to happen because if they did that, they would be losing out on billions of dollars. Billions. Not like a few 100,000, not a few million, not even 100 million. They would probably lose like $2 to $3 billion because there would be a full year with no new merchandise being sold. Like, imagine a company like Apple or Microsoft just stopped making stuff to sell. They just stopped making stuff to sell. They would lose so much market share in a year. And they can't risk that because it is the biggest money maker. Like Zelda and Mario, no way do they make as much as Pokemon. There's no way. And then, and that's not even including all the apps that are separate games. Anyways, that's why I went on so long. My friend and I are thinking of swapping our copies of Scarlet and Violet with each other because I prefer history and he prefers sci-fi. That's fair. I mean, however you want to do it, do it. 100% more power to you. Anyways, we never decided. Back to our world creation. Which biome do we want to put Dragon Song in? I'm going to say it's going to be somewhere in this area. Just to narrow it down. So do we want it in a grasslands? These whiter yellow grasslands. This is hot desert. This is a tropical seasonal forest, and this is a deciduous forest. And then this dark one here is a temperate forest. Grassland sounds good to me. Yes, but this is Nintendo. Nintendo can just stop making games and other stuff, and they won't be affected for years. That's not actually true. That's not actually true. Nintendo would not... They would definitely be affected. Just look at the time during the Wii U, or the GameCube, or the Virtual Boy. All of these were areas where Nintendo nearly went bankrupt and disappeared. The Wii U was literally only 8 years ago, 9 years ago. Now, that's almost a decade. But during that time period, nobody was buying Wii U's. They were making games for the Wii U. Third-party companies were making the games for the Wii U. No one owns one. Let's see. How many Wii were sold? Right? Only 101 million units. That is a failure for a console. A failure. They were losing so much money. Now, you could say, it's more than the PlayStation 3 or the Xbox. But that's as of 2024. Right? During that time, they were losing money. The only thing that kept them from going bankrupt was the DS. And one of the things that kept selling DSs was new Pokemon games. Pokemon sells way more than any other game on Switch's library. The only things that can compete with it are Mario, Zelda, Mario Kart. And it's like a fraction. Like we were looking at how much money did Scarlet and Violet make? How much money did Tears of the Kingdom make? Sold 21 million copies. $25. That's almost 5 million copies more. So they can't just stop making games and they would be fine. The moment they stop making games, the moment they stop producing games constantly, they disappear. You can't, as a company, even as a nation, you can't just stop producing stuff for a little bit and you'll be fine. As a person, you can do that. As a company you can't do it. They have to keep making games. And Pokemon has kept them alive so many times. It's unfortunate, but it's the truth. So someone said Grasslands. I'm going to say it's like right on the edge here. Right on the border of the Deshret, but still in the Sandal Empire. That way there's a reason why they're not completely... I'm going to put it... Oh, no, this is a savanna. Where would the... I'm going to put it like here. Hadberg. It's going to go under other. No, does it have walled? Yeah, it's walled. It is definitely a religious center. Yeah, I'll say they're nomadic. Oh, no one caught the Zorak. Sorry if I sounded like I was yelling at you. I'm very passionate about this. And I get very energetic. And again, this is not me hating on you guys and being like, Nintendo can do no wrong. This is just the logic of why it happens. I think they're still wrong to do this. I still think they should take that market cut. I still believe Nintendo can make a good Pokemon game if they had competition, but I respect... No, I agree with you. I totally agree with you. I'm not saying this is right. I'm saying this is why they feel they have to do it. And I agree. It's really bad. It's really bad. Like logically, this is what they have to do. This is their logic belief. But they do so many other shitty things on top of it that make it really bad. Like the thing that they're trying to do with Pocket Pair, what's that game? Pokemon with guns. Pal World. The thing they're trying to do with Pal World is so stupid. But they don't want they're afraid that if Pal World gets too successful, Pokemon will stop being as popular and it'll lose its fan base. Which is a possibility. I'm not going to pretend like it's 100% impossible. But it's also not going to happen. Right? Like, Pokemon is way too ingrained in too many people's hearts. Like, multiple generations. Like, millennials, Gen Z, and Gen Alpha all love Pokemon. That's 3 generations worth of love for Pokemon. But they're afraid. They're afraid that they're going to lose all that love just overnight because someone comes along with something that's the same and then it splits their audience. But what they do splits their audience more than I think what competition could do. Maybe not. Maybe I'm an idiot. I think they can, and I think they can. It's not that I don't think they can make a good Pokemon game. My explanation is more so why they won't spend the time to really nail down an amazing Pokemon game. They definitely can. Look at Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. While there are issues I have with it, there are things that in that I think are beautiful. But again, they're like, we have to make one every 2 years. We can't take 6 years to make one like Tears in the Kingdom. We can't do it. They could, but they don't believe they can. So that's my thing about Pokemon and why it really kind of sucks right now in some aspects, but it's also amazing in others. Like the story of the latest Pokemon was pretty good. Some people say it's the best one. It didn't really grip me that hard. So for me personally, it wasn't the best one, but it definitely is good. The latest gimmick mechanic I actually think was really good. I think terraforming is probably the best gimmick they've come up with yet. Like it doesn't have the cool factor of Mega Evolutions, but it also doesn't have the balancing issues that Mega Evolution had. I think terraforming is the best one because it really helps. It's useful for all Pokemon, and all Pokemon can use it regardless of items, abilities, what have you. Yeah. So this is where Dragon Song is. We got a little boy, Dragon Song. Then let's see, where do we want to put midpoint? I think I actually did make a midpoint already, but it might have been changed. Midpoint is not a port town. We did say that. Because it's not a mesa. That would be a terrible port town. This is a fun conversation. I agree. It was fun. Although it was mostly me just talking to you. But it was fun. And that is, again, I'm with you. I really want to really like just a solid Pokemon. What kind of place is midpoint? It is a... It's on a mesa, if you know what a mesa is. I'm terrible at explanation, so I'm just going to look up. This is what a mesa is. Something like this. It's a fairly religious place, actually. I do need to change the height map maybe a little bit. I'm kind of afraid to change the height map too much because I'm afraid it'll... Ooh, here's good. We'll put it somewhere over here. I'll just say they're nomadic. They have a lot of trade. And it is a religious center. Population, 603. Let's make it 650. Sure. Actually, just randomize it a bit. Nah, it doesn't have a castle. It's not really walled, per se. It is a bit of a shanty town because it's made of derelict trading vehicles. Oh, we got to change the name. Midpoint. So to describe it, it was made from old caravans, and they're extremely religious. They follow this religion called the Followers to Nahawer, where they believe that is their word for the promised land. And there is a cultural leader of theirs that is said to be able to know the direction to the promised land. And they have a well of water in their mesa, which is constantly being created. It's a bunch of fresh water that's constantly being created because they don't know this, but there is the heart of a water elemental or a water primordial that has been trapped inside this mesa, because this mesa is actually a prison for this water primordial, which we could use in the future. Yes. If we wanted to for a D&D campaign. Oh, someone has dug too far and it's escaping. Oh, and their religious leader recently died. He was murdered. Although people don't know if he was murdered. We know he was murdered. You and me, we know. But the players, the characters don't know. They're the guy who murdered him knows. And so currently they're all very depressed about that. They're very sad. It would be like if it was like when Gandhi died. There we go. That's a good example. It's like when Gandhi died, only nobody saw how he died. They went into his chambers and he died. He was an old man, so it's like, oh, it could have been a heart attack. Blah, blah, blah. I like what we didn't do much, but I like what we did. And I like that I expanded my world. And the next time we do some world building, I can go into the map and bloop, put something in. We can actually add notes. Where's notes? Yeah, we'll say it's a town. Toggle preview, zoom in and out. Oh, I didn't know we could move. Okay, that's cool. Notes. The land. Town of repurposed caravans made into buildings. Large religious order called I think that's how it's spelled. I'll rewrite it later. What we doing now was AFK. Did this save? Oh, it does save. Okay, so it all saves. Now I think I'm done with everything I want to do for today. We didn't do much changing. We did move Ornheim from here to here. Because it would make sense, for gray dwarves to be in the mountains. We didn't do much, but we did stuff I liked. I liked the stuff we did. I think I'm gonna actually maybe end the stream and go eat because I'm hungry. It's only been a couple hours. I know stream was a little shorter than normal, but I did say it would be a short stream. If anybody has any questions about the world, let me know. I will be here for another few minutes. If nobody has any questions, then we outie. We outie, bowdy. Oh, my nose is so itchy. I really like what I've made so far, and I've liked how you have helped me make it. And of course, we do have the Shrine Islands. What I did want to work on, and we'll probably get to it on Friday, is there's going to be a town that's right here. It's a neutral town. Let me see. What are the things I can put for... Wildlands are on here. Yeah, there's gonna be a neutral town here. That's maybe more actually here-ish. That is where's the dragon turtle? He lives under these islands. He lives around here. Somewhere here. The dragon turtle lives around here somewhere. I remember we said one of these islands, the 5th island, is hidden. Nobody knows where it is. It disappeared. Then, of course, there's a bunch of smaller islands that you can't see on this map because it would not load if I added them. Yeah, so we're gonna add a nation here. It's called not Bloodsworn. Flapjack. What's it called? Not the Wilds. Wildfang. Wildfang. It's called Wildfang. It's where my players will be starting their world, and we will be doing that on the 25th, 26th of this month. So by that time, I would like us to have a bit of a town set up, so that way I can tell you stories about what are happening with my players in this town. So any last questions? Well, good day. I hope your year is a good one. I hope all of you have a wonderful year. It was so good to see you all. It was so much fun. We're going to zoom out so you can see it one last time. That's what it looks like with the height map. This is the biomes. I realized the rivers was off this whole time. Here's the cultures, states, temperature, precipitation. I need to edit this. And everyone, thank you all for joining me for another Zaggertastic stream. I'm feeling really, really good. Do we want to raid anyone, chat? Do we want to raid anyone? I will give you 10 seconds to decide. Looks like no one has anybody we want to raid yet. Heck yeah. All right, who's even streaming right now? First raid of the year. Let's see. Let's see if there's anyone playing Dungeons & Dragons. You know, let's watch this person's campaign. I like the name of their campaign. We'll raid them. It's D&D related. I have no target in particular, unfortunately. That's okay. I have a target. Thank you all for joining us. Let me get in there. We're gonna go raid someone who is currently playing a D&D game called Tyranny of Dragons, Episode 3, Chapter 1. I hope you guys all enjoyed the world building stream and the Pokemon convo we had. Maybe I'll edit that and make that a video. Yes. Until then, guys, thank you so much. Happy New Year's to all of you. Stay safe, stay smart, stay healthy this New Year's. Be thankful for everything and everyone you have in your life this New Year's. Be thankful for all the stuff you got for the holidays, what you'll get for your upcoming birthdays. Thank you so much. And remember, the number one rule, keep it in your heart, keep it in your minds, and live for it for the rest of this year. Don't believe in yourself. Believe in me. Who believes in you? Bye-bye, chat.